The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 15 years and counting.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Weekdays of Bernie segment tonight, smearing politicians.
I'm now seeing Hillary Clinton, in her own way, kind of lay out her case against his temperament. And I love the fact that she's using his own language against him. I think that's probably the most effective way, because he's, I think, clinically insane.
Right now, we see that we have two political parties here, one of which is literally saying that we should give up all American values, that we should adopt the exact same tactics of the Gestapo and the Nazis.
In addition, there are plenty of attacks from the right on liberal politicians, as we all know. Joining us from North Carolina, Bernie Goldberg. So, you have a woman who comes on and says that Donald Trump is clinically insane. Okay. The news agency didn't know, I don't think, that she was going to say that before she was booked as a guest. Number one, should that person never again appear on that channel? And number two, should there be stated rules for guests that you don't go over a certain line?
Yeah, I wouldn't impose the death penalty, but I would say yes on the rules. Look, even opinion journalism has to be fair. Commentators and hosts of opinion shows have a lot of leeway, and they should have a lot of leeway. But I can't come on your program and say, you know, so-and-so reminds me of a child molester. I'll get away with that once on live TV, but I won't get away with it twice.
No, we wouldn't. If you'd said that, we would never use you again on this, even though I love you. All right, and you've been on this program since 1812. If you made any kind of analogy to anybody in that context, you'd be gone.
It was 1813, but I'm not going to quibble on that. Now, but on the matter of comparisons to Nazis, which is quite popular on the left, I would say that crosses a line. The woman who said that Donald Trump is clinically insane, she's an actress. She's not a psychiatrist. In my view, that crosses the line because, and I'm going to repeat because it's really important, even opinion journalism needs to be fair. Now, on the other side of that coin, I think management should step in, and I think there should be rules and guidelines when people are too soft on people running for president. If you're too close,
but that's a different thing.
It's a different kind of thing. But what I'm saying is, I think there should be ruals and guidelines when people are
let me challenge that for a minute. Let me challenge
needlessly.
Let me challenge that.
Too kind.
If you're in the tank for a political candidate, as many commentators across many forums are, you are rooting for that person to win the Senate, the House, the presidency, whatever it may be, okay?
Right.
That's permitted under the rules of commentary. And if you see the newspaper op-eds, you see it all the time. We want this person, we want that person, we want this person. So when those people then cross over to interview them, and of course politicians want to come in and be interviewed by people who are rooting for them, okay, it would be almost impossible to say, hey, even though you're rooting, you got to ask A, B, and C, and D.
You brought up the expression crossing a line. I'm saying I could like candidate X and say nice things about candidate X. That's perfectly legitimate. But if I'm pals with candidate X and I'm having candidate X write blurbs for my book, if I'm doing stuff like that, I am way, way too close to candidate X.
So you say that you should recuse yourself in an Now, I'm glad you brought that up.
People aren't going to recuse themselves.
No,
management, in my humble opinion, needs to say, in fairness to the viewer, even if the viewer wants a soft interview, in fairness to the viewer, I'm not going to let you do the interview.
Or you have to say what your involvement is, as I did with Donald Trump. Now, I was friends with Donald Trump way before.
By the way, for the record, I'm not talking about you.
No, I know not. But I had to say, as soon as he ran and started to run, I had to give my bio with Trump out. I had to tell everybody, okay?
Right.
And I did. And believe me, I think any fair-minded person would know, I've asked Mr. Trump the hardest questions I could ask, and I'll do the same to all the candidates. That being said, that I think though, I'm going to go further than you. I think, though, if a political candidate has an association with a journalist or commentator, whether it's print or TV, and the management has a right to say, you got to recuse yourself, you can't interview that person, you're just too close to them.
Too close,
yeah,
right.
I think so.
Can I give you, do we have time for one more example?
15 seconds.
PolitiFact won a Pulitzer Prize. They say that way more than half the time Donald Trump speaks, he's not telling the truth. I have statistics and I have examples, okay? I think management should step in there and say, when we find out that Donald Trump or anybody else said something that isn't true, whether it's the next day or an hour later, or whatever it is, we'll correct it
That's fair.
for the viewer.
Sure, that's fair on both candidates.